Oh yeah, well yeah. I think you can gamble on everything in this app. That is definite. That is a core facet of this app.
In this episode, episode 5, talk about finances, personal finance, becoming an investor. I think anything finances or anything like that. And as of always, I'm your host, Yash Dalvi, and I'm joined by my co-host, Ryan Cadby. And I want to let you know that none of this is actual financial advice by any means, but also that we do have a designated crypto bro on the call today in Ryan, who knows everything you could ever want to know. Basically, the Warren Buffett of crypto is what his title is.
I've been out of the game too long. No way, dude.
Do you consider crypto in finance?
Burned. Yeah, I mean, it's a huge part of my portfolio, so it's part of my finance right now.
On a first degree, second degree to third degree burn, how bad is the burn that you faced during the crypto collapse?
It was, third degree burn. It was, borderline fatal. Much more than a flesh wound. No, dude, it was just the bankruptcy with whatever, the Three Arrows kind of scandal that went down, and then Anchor Protocol basically went down because of what is it, dude? I even forget now, the whole Terra Luna ecosystem. So
USDT, whatever that was, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so I got burned by that. Dude, but the one thing that gave me comfort was reading like the Reddit threads. People like really blowing up and being super pissed, like hundreds of thousands lost in it. And I was like, damn, that would suck. So
yeah.
But no, now it's a great time to buy. So we're still, I haven't given up. No way. It'll come back up.
Would you say like when you like your personal regular I guess normal like the regular stock market, like the NASDAQ and all that, your personal philosophy for like that versus crypto? Do you even, when you were like looking into like the crypto world and buying and trading things, did you apply any of the same things that you personally do for like what you do on like the regular stock market? Or is it more like this is a whole new platform environment market that like you can just kind of go in there and experiment with?
Well, yeah, I got super deep into crypto. So it was hard to apply kind of the same methodologies because there's no way to like dollar cost average into some of these super niche coins that you need like a MetaMask wallet for, and you're doing like bridges or like, you hop on like an Ethereum bridge or something like that. So yeah, no, it was hard to apply any of that. No, well, the stock market, I just dollar cost average. It's like, I just have I think it's twice a month. It does like an auto buy of some S&P 500 tracker, like VOO or something like that. I forget what it is.
Yeah, VOO, Vanguard's S&P 500 ETF, or I guess index fund. I mean,
yeah.
So, is that your personal like philosophy? You would say is like kind of set it and forget it, dollar cost average, that index tracking the S&P 500, probably like anywhere from 8 to 9.6% returns on average on a given year. That's like your philosophy. Just throw it in there. You'll know, grow. That's it.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, sorry. Can you hear my dogs?
No, not at all.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, pretty much just set it and forget it. I used to, when I had more time, I was like looking into it. I bought like Nvidia, I think like a couple years ago. So I would pick a couple. I bought Tesla before it split, which was super convenient. Like all blue chip stuff though. I don't do like put calls or whatever, option calls. I don't trade with leverage. I don't do any of that. It's kind of terrifying, honestly. So I don't do that. What do you do?
I'm almost the exact same way. Like set it and forget it. I find that since I work for a big corporation, I have a couple different ways to do it. I like my 401k, right? That gets matched at a certain percent every up to a certain percent, they'll match like my contributions. And then outside of that, we also have like an employee stock purchase program. And so I'm able to buy like stock at a discounted rate of the company I work for. And I can have that pulled directly from my account. And then, so I do those two channels, I guess, of like savings, I would call it, or investing. And then I do like dollar cost averaging of that same ETF or index fund. Definitely like setting and forgetting is the best way for me because especially the fact that it just leaves my bank account every time I get paid, it's just gone. Don't ever really look at it. Like I'll like view at it. Maybe I would spend like probably 15 minutes a week max, just like checking everything. I check my bank accounts almost every single day, multiple times a day, just to like keep track of it because I don't know if like I get so many spam emails that it's like, oh, you've been signed up for blah, blah, blah. You've been charged this. And I'm like, I really hope that's not true. So instead of clicking those links, I just check my bank accounts nonstop. But I really don't, I personally find it really hard to like want to put time and effort into like becoming this like finance guru and doing all of that. Like the Graham Steffens of the world where he's like, make your own coffee and like spend 5 cents on this thing and like, be super, super frugal and then take all of that and like invest it. That to me just has no appeal at all. Like I at one point thought about like the whole FIRE community, right? Which is financially independent, retire early is what that FIRE stands for. And it's all about if you can, while you're young, save every single dollar, like live well below your means, do some investing and things like that, create passive income streams, then you can retire at like 35. And at one point I thought about that, but then that conflicted with the core idea of like, I want to be able to do things while I'm young and be able to experience like life at its fullest while I have like the time and the energy to do so. And if I'm like pinching every single dollar a penny and then I get to 35, it's like, oh, great, I retire, but then maybe you have kids on the way or something like that. Then what are you really doing with that time at that point? And so it just like never made too much sense for me from that perspective to be like super, super frugal. Granted, I do try and save, not be an idiot, but sometimes kind of have to.
Yeah. No, I watched the movie and I read the book for FIRE.
Really.
Yeah, I was like super interested in that for a little while. But dude, when you look at the numbers, and I think some of them in the movie, I think they broke it down, and they were like, yeah, like if we save up, I forget what their number was, like I don't even know. I think it was like whatever 600 grand or something like that, and they're like, yeah, so like 10% of that will be 60 grand. So if we only pull out 40 grand a year, then like we technically aren't losing money. I don't know. They like broke it down and it was like, dude, you're living off of 40 grand a year at that point. Sure, you don't have to work. That's great. But like, you don't have money to go spend on like experiences. So what do you do all day? Like sit at home or like garden or I don't know, water your plants. That only lasts so long, dude. But yeah, I'm, I don't know. I used to save more, but I haven't been tracking it as closely lately, which is bad. But it's really bad. But yeah, I have I don't put any money into a 401k right now because I guess I could. I'll probably look at it at the end of the year and see if I can kind of decrease my tax burden, right? If I put money into my 401k. But other than that, it's kind of it's pretty liquid right now, which I don't know. It's not terrible. Because then if I were to put it in like the market for like a year and then pull it out, then I'm gonna have to pay taxes on any short-term gains. I guess it could be losses too, which would be bad. But dude, I actually just signed up for Masterworks. Have you heard of it? I think Graham Stephan plugs it in his videos.
No, I haven't heard of it.
Or who's the other guy? Andrew Zick. Andre Zick?
Andrew. No, I know Graham Stephan. I know there is like what's his name? The super famous guy who's like pay off all your student loans, blah blah, like beard. Dave Ramsey.
Oh, okay.
There's that guy. I don't know about Andre or Andrew Jick.
Yeah, he has his videos are like crypto and like global economy, like general finance stuff, but I think he specializes more in the crypto space. But he like plugs this platform called Masterworks, and I actually created an account. You have to apply to be on their platform, and basically they're it's trading art, like fine art. So you invest in like art pieces and they like gain I need to read up on it. I haven't put any money in it yet, but you can like invest in specific art pieces, I think, or maybe like collections, and as they sell them, you get a return or something. I think they average like 16, I don't know, I got to look it up. I think it's like 16%, something like that. So it's better than the marketplace, like the stock
Dang.
market. So,
And
yeah.
I wonder. I know there's like tax write-offs for like fine art investment as well, like high-end art. Like that's another way people, I guess, really extremely rich, they launder their money. So they put it into art, and then it becomes like a basically the value of it's there. And then if they don't really sell it, or even if they sell it, it's sell it or trade it. Basically, it's like they don't ever get taxed on that money necessarily once they buy it. And so they can get like gains off of that, and then the whole probably scheme to it. But basically, the conspiracy theory is like all of this fine art that's valued at millions of dollars is like actually worthless, but it's just these billionaires and millionaires who are playing this market of, oh well, if I pay this much and then I can get this back, and so they value just absolutely nonsense at like these extremely high dollar figures. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's the same with like watches.
Yeah, for sure.
But
The Rolex bubble just is kind of popped a little while ago in the watch world. So I personally like watches. I like to have something on my wrist. I think some of their watches get a little out there, but recently that's been a huge trend is people buying these like expensive or luxury watches, premium watches like Rolex, AP and things like that. And that resale market of the Rolex, like basically people were reselling their Rolexes for like a couple thousand over what they bought it for MSRP. So there's this huge thing where you could basically sell your watch for more than what you bought it for originally straight from the factory, and make money off of it. And that caused this huge, issue where people are like, you can't even buy any of these like watches or whatever it is. And there's this bubble related to that. And then finally it's kind of going down. So watches for sure, but they're cool. Little better, more useful than a fine art piece, I would say.
yeah, I don't know, dude. I've never been a watch guy, so I don't think I'd ever buy a watch. I'd probably buy an art piece before I bought a watch.
What do
But
you have against watches? As a side tangent, I got to hear this.
dude, I don't like the culture that it's like a flex. Like, oh, you spent like whatever 10 million on that watch, and that's the whole shtick.
Yeah, I can see
And
that.
like you point at it, and it's maybe a talking piece for like a minute, and then it's over. I don't, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't care, and I don't wear watches, so it's like,
Yeah,
whatever.
you don't wear watches. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah. I'd get more utility out of an art piece, I think. So,
All right. I know
yeah.
what your next birthday present's gonna be.
Oh God, dude, no, you know what it should be. Actually, I got the Whoop. I've been wearing the Whoop,
Yeah.
a new Whoop band. Yeah, yeah. I actually got it with an extra Whoop band, and I think I threw it away in the box.
Oh,
It's a bummer. Yeah, yeah, but yeah. I don't mind the Whoop. I can't tell the time, but whatever. That's not huge.
do you
But yeah, to
think?
kind of close the loop,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say to close the loop on investing. I also DCA into crypto, into the crypto market, but I don't use MetaMask or anything like that anymore. And I leave I don't know, that's going to sound bad, but I leave it on the exchange anyways. So I don't do like the Trezor or anything like that. I've heard horror stories of people getting locked out of their hard wallet, and I was like, I feel like if I get screwed on like a crypto scandal, if I leave it on the platform, there's going to be other people that get screwed too. Like Voyager. Like I'm getting emails. There's like a class action lawsuit, I think, against Voyager. So I might get my money back there. We'll see. Maybe they'll get bought out.
What was your like draw to like your increased interest in crypto and that type of investing over like your traditional investments, right? Because you said like kind of set it and forget it when it comes to your like went to that index VOO, but what was like the draw towards crypto instead? Was it like the opportunity that was just so large that you just saw and you're like, there's not a good reason not to do this?
Yeah, it's the potential upside. So it's like the risk to reward equation. Um, yeah, that's really it. Like if I put my money in like Anchor, like knowing that it could be lost. So that's like an accepted risk I'm willing to take at this point in my life. Um, and I think until I'm not ready to make that like take that risk, then I'll change my method there. But there's no way I don't see a future in which we don't have crypto. Like governments are putting like funding behind it. Like there's going to be government cryptocurrencies like stable coins and stuff like that. I think it's here to stay, especially in the gaming and even if it doesn't go to the governments, I think the gaming industry alone is going to need cryptocurrency. So like okay, sure, maybe it's not Bitcoin, maybe it's some like alternative. But that still in that space is going to increase the value of the whole market. So yeah, I think it's here to stay.
Where would you say, like, for the average person today, like, what percentage should be their portfolio? And then what would you say in 5 years should be their percentage of their portfolio crypto?
I don't know, dude. Everyone online says it should be like no more than 10%. So if they want to follow the standards, it's considered a risky asset, right? So it shouldn't really be more than 10%. I think it's over 50% of mine. But
But it's like, I don't know, like, the safe advice is do 10%, right? But I don't know if like, for people our age, people under the age of 30, if like doing safe things is worth it at all. We have like the longest time horizon out of anyone who's able to invest at the moment, and to do anything safe is kind of stupid. You have like all the time in the world to like correct for those mistakes down the road. So like, why would you not be like throw caution to the wind and just invest in those crazy or risky stocks or in our cryptos or whatever it may be?
yeah, yeah, that's definitely where I'm at. And that was even, yeah, like I haven't been saving a lot lately just because it's been going back into my business. So it's like I don't have like a lot of money to save because it's being like repurposed. So it's I don't know, it's in hopes of that I'll have more to save in the future, right? That's kind of like the plan. So if you spend everything on growing your income now, then I think your savings, yeah, I think they'll be negligible, right? Based on like the potential outcome 5 years from now, if you just spend it on personal growth or putting it into your business or whatever it is.
Yeah, and and to kind of go to a different kind of adjacent topic of that, which is like you see online the two like paths. If you were to like bucket like YouTube and social media under like self improvement, there's like really only two paths that I usually see, which is like the penny pinching and going out and saying like, oh, like invest, do these things, and like utilize the stock market as like your main leverage for like creating outside like opportunities or returns, where it's like, hey, go out there, you do these things. It's like one part personal finance and like indexes and things, and the second part is like real estate. I would say is like usually those two go hand in hand, and then the other side of that coin is like be an entrepreneur, start your own businesses, put every single like dollar you have into these businesses, be super risky in that sense, and then like invest a lot in yourself, and then see those like returns. And to me, as someone who doesn't really fit into either bucket because I like work for a big corporate job, and I would consider myself kind of lazy on the one hand to say that I don't want to be like penny pinching and doing all these things, but then I'm also not running my own business on the other hand. I feel like, dang, if I had to choose one side, I almost would feel like being an entrepreneur, that business minded person is way better. Because I just think you should always bet on yourself. It's either you're betting on yourself to be like, the highest return on your own investment, or you're going to be betting on the stock market, which is betting on others.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And I was talking to someone this weekend about like buying a home or renting forever, or not forever, but like for a while. And like all my friends want to buy homes, and I am not in that camp. I'm definitely in the camp of like renting until it's more convenient for me to buy a house, which I don't know. I don't know how soon that day will come. I don't see it anytime in the near future, because like you said, I'd like locking that money up away inside of equity that's just a misallocation of budget. Like I'd rather have that money in my hands and be able to spend it on whatever, like you're saying, business growth or like self-help education, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You think you'll buy a house?
Yeah, I was gonna definitely. I like the idea of buying a house. Understanding, I don't view as owning a home as an asset at all. Like I think you own that thing. It costs money. You pay for it, and like at no point should you view it as like an asset in your portfolio. It's like it's just land that you pay for and that you own. But I like the idea of owning something, and having that as like my own. Now I do see like the issues that come along with it, which is like you've mentioned, you have cash that's tied up into this thing. You have to pay for the maintenance, the taxes, everything on top of that goes into owning a home. But I've just always had that idea in my head that you have this home, it's something you can build up. It doesn't have to be your perfect home, the first one, but it's like ideally you buy something well within your means, and then you have it and you can pay it off in a relatively short time if that is what makes sense. Or if not, and then you always have like a home base no matter what you do, or where things kind of go right or wrong. Things go terribly wrong when you were at a different home and you have to like all of a sudden downgrade. You always have the first house you ever bought to come back to, and there's like that base. So I really like that idea, but I also see your point, which is freedom, right? I think it's like freedom and convenience sounded like the values that you kind of you're grading all your choices, whether it's like financial or business. Is it's like, am I going to continue to have like the freedom and independence that I want? And then am I, freedom and independence that I want? And then is it also convenient? Is this making my life easier or harder? And I would say like that's convenience factor is something that I think about a lot, but I don't always put it at like the forefront of what I'm trying to do. I'm like, I don't mind like waiting in a line or like, have a little bit of issues and things like that. I'm like, I can just kind of stand around. Like, it's not too big of a deal to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it goes both ways, right? Like you see owning a home as convenient, right? Or like it's a sense, sounds like security or a sense of like safety. It's like you always have a fallback, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it depends on priorities. It's part convenience for me and part just like a poor use of my money right now. Just because it would be, I don't want to tie my money up in equity. That's really what it comes down to. And then you have like the rent versus mortgage, kind of like you're spending the money anyways argument. But I definitely think owning is more expensive just based on all of your expenses that come with like property tax, any sort of maintenance that comes up, that responsibility, that financial responsibility, as well as the inconvenience to deal with it in general.
Yeah. And I would say though that like the key differentiator probably between even you and like just like outside other people is that you are taking that like cash that you have like liquid due to renting and putting it into like your business and into yourself, right? But like if you're not doing any of those things and then you're just kind of spending cash or you're maybe saving it, then it might be better to, own because you're not doing anything with it anyways, right? So maybe it is worth putting into like a home or like an asset like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's a great decision. Like it's a great option for a lot of people. Um, yeah, just not me right now. Yeah, and same with entrepreneurship. I think that gets viewed a lot as like, oh, like I just work a 9 to 5, like I'm whatever. They like are almost I don't I don't want to say like disappointed about it, but they're not super proud to say it. But where was I going with this? Sorry, my dog just walked in. But it's a great, like a 9 to 5 is a great option for a lot of people and it works for a lot of people. And dude, honestly, yeah, there are days I wish I still like just worked like whatever, 8 hours a day. That would be nice. But yeah, I don't know. It's whatever works for you in the moment, I think. That's what makes the most sense.
Yeah, like, and on to that point, one last thing there was I'd ask is, do you ever find yourself like, do you ever like have moments or like scheduled time in your like week or I mean, I guess in your months or in the year in which you like pull back and you look at what am I like investing in, whether it's yourself or whatever, and if and am I getting like returns on that investment? Like, do you ever take that kind of really, broad strokes, like high level view of where your money or your resources are going and like, what you're getting out of it?
Um, not at like not at like a granular level. Um, like I can feel it every month though, at the end of the month when I send invoices. It's pretty like I understand pretty quick what, if it was a good month or a bad month. And then only I know what I did that month, right? Um, but no, I've never broken it down, which I probably should, honestly. I should do. I mean, I should keep better books in general, honestly. It's just always an afterthought for me. Even personal finance. I don't use Mint or like anything like that. Do you use a budgeting tool?
I I use Mint solely for like basically event tracking. So like when something pops up or like I like getting the monthly recap, like you spent this much more than last month, or like your spending is through the roof, or like whatever it is, or you spent this much on fast food, like it shames me at the end of the month. And I'm like, I need that. I'm like, God damn it. Like I spent that much on it. But yeah, that's all I use. Is is Mint. I have no problem. It's like pretty standard stuff.
Yeah. I set up Mint, but it would like misidentify things for me.
Hmm.
So then I would have to go in and like tell it like what everything was. And I just didn't want to do that anymore. So I just stopped altogether.
Yeah, the kind of going back to your thought of like you don't necessarily come back and think about your finances, or you like look at it kind of more on a month to month basis because that's when you have to send out invoices. I do like even outside of like personal finance, even like personal goals. I've been trying to think of the best way to like how do you keep track of these goals that you have besides like looking back every New Year's Eve and going, fuck, I did not meet my goals that I set up. But like I haven't yet to figure out a way that is like fluid to like my kind of cadence of life where it's not like so abrupt of like every Sunday I look at my goals, or like every day I have a goal for the day. Like that's like not very authentic to like how I operate, but like having like a quarterly or like every half a year you like sit down and you look at your goals in general, I think was probably helpful, right? To like make sure you are investing in the right places, hitting your targets that you have, whether it's like personal or like financial.
Yeah. No, I think it is valuable to look back. But that New Year's thing is interesting. I think talking about that at one point. He wanted to create like he had an idea for an app, and it was like, or I don't know, he didn't tell me not to talk about it, so if someone wants to take it, go for it. But basically it's like a community app. Um And you basically, I think you sign up with someone. I don't forget how exactly he wanted it to work, but it's the idea is you and your friend sign up and you both set a goal and then you hold each other to it on this app, and it'll basically have like checkpoints for you. And I think there was some sort of wager involved. So it was like, okay, whoever doesn't like hit their goal, maybe you were telling me about, maybe this was your idea, but no. Okay, I think it was Ben's then. And he's like, basically, it has to be something that would hurt though. So it was like $500 or like $1,000 you have to pay the other person if you like don't hit your mark.
Ooh, I kind of like that, especially in like the scope of even like financial goals, let's say, or even personal ones, because as you can see, like the trending way to engage people on apps and things that people don't necessarily associate with fun or like is to kind of gamify it. Robinhood, the whole way they've gamified buying stocks. Oh, you join Robinhood, you have a chance to get one free. You have these pretty colors, these like charts are going up. You just hit a couple buttons, and you could buy it. You could buy it at leverage super easily. Like, I think you could totally gamify hitting your personal and financial goals in that way, where it's like you have like check-ins and you go after it with your friends. I think like, so tell me, I think you have to have a leaderboard, and you'd have like your friends, like you'd like hook up into like Facebook, right? And it'd show like all your friends, and it doesn't have to, your friends don't have to have it as like public what their goals are, but it could be like your friends have hit X this many goals out of the year. And like you have like a leaderboard for like, this is your friends, these are the top 10 people you know that have like hit the most amount of goals and like this year. I think I would probably get a little competitive about those if that was the case.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I would get super competitive. And that's there's a name for it, but it's like that like feedback loop where you're not only incentivizing them to hit their goals, but you're incentivizing them to use your app. So it's not like it's not how many goals you hit in a year, it's how many goals you enter into the app and click the little check mark on. So it's so subjective that it's like, I woke up and made coffee today, and like I made my bed and I filled up my water 4 times. It's like, so that person could have whatever, couple hundred goals completed by the end of a month. And someone else is like, yeah, I want to make like over $1 million. I want like 6 cars added to my car, like these monstrous goals that take like a lifetime to accomplish. So I wonder like how it would have to be community based to like basically hone in on the scale of these goals, right?
Well, I think you would look at like what is the time that they're setting for it. Like if you would do it by like, okay, if they set these goals in 12 months and like that maybe has a weight to it, like it's a weighted goal at this point, it's 12 months. And then I would it's like a rubric. So it's like this duration, this is the amount of money they're putting up for that goal. So like if they say it's a 12-month goal, but they only put $50 in, then I'm going to say it's not that valuable of a goal. And then it's going to be weighted less comparatively to other ones. And like that's probably how I would rank, which goals are like which is kind of this weighted score. And then I think what you could do to go even further is like if you meet your goal or don't meet it, that like money you set aside, you could like do it for like a donation. So it could be like a nonprofit platform as well. And so then it's like all of a sudden, not only are these people incentivized to like hit their personal or public goals, but like if they do or they don't, at least they know it's going to like a good cause or something like that.
Yeah, I really like that. I like changing where the payout goes. I think it could be an option, right? It's like, okay, you pay out your friend or you like select a payee. Or it goes to a nonprofit or it goes to the company. Like maybe you could throw your company in there as like, we'll allocate your funds the way we see fit. But what if the person, so like if it's community based, you pick, like, let's say you pick I don't know what you call it, like a sponsor. Let's say you pick a sponsor and that's the person that has to check off your goal. So if that person doesn't check off your goal, then your money goes wherever you chose for it to go.
Oh, yeah. It could check off that person that sponsored would check off the goal, and you could have it as like a video platform. So like, let's say it's like a physical goal, you have to close all the rings on your Apple Watch or something, and you can like upload a screenshot or a video or something of you like completing this goal. And then you upload it into the platform, that person looks at it and they go, all right, yeah, they did this, they check it off. Oh, you could even,
Yep.
oh my God, then you could, as a platform, offer these sponsors. Where, like, let's say you have no friends and you want to sign up to this platform, but you want to use it. So then you could have like designated sponsors where you set the milestones of your goal, and you say like, hey, I'm gonna submit like these X amount of pictures. Like, let's say it's like weight loss, and they have to like send a picture of like their scale or something. I don't know what it would be, and then every time, and then you could have someone internally, and you could totally outsource this, like out fact checking to make sure that they're reaching these goals. That would be really cool, because then you can have people who just want to come on. Like, let's say they have a personal goal that they don't feel comfortable sharing or something. They could just have it, being done by like this anonymous third party.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I was,
Yeah,
the other,
so the company would validate it, would validate you accomplishing your goal.
yeah,
I also think you have to charge them when they make the goal. So like your money goes into escrow when you set the goal. So it's not like, oh, I'm not going to hit my goal, like close my account, pull my card out, like whatever it is. It's like, no, your money's gone. There's like a hold on your credit card basically for this amount. And if you don't hit your goal, that's ours. Or
that's so
nonprofits
smart.
or whatever.
That's
Yeah.
so smart, because I didn't even think about that. I would totally have that issue of like, oh, well, like, I don't want to, you don't have any incentive to finish that goal once you have it set up. But like, if the money's gone, it's gone. And then it's just, oh, that'd be so sick.
You're fighting to get it back, basically.
Yeah, basically. Oh my God. And then what you could do is you could set like a threshold of like over $500. If that's like what they're putting up, you would like it would have to go through like a secondary check process to like validate that like this is like an achievable, like we could, as a company, as a platform, actually like record that you completed the goal. That way, like, we're not getting people who are like, oh, I put up $1,000 and I thought I was going to lose like 200 pounds in a year or something like that. And it's like, oh, that's a bad example. But it's like not unfeasible. And then all of a sudden they're like angry at us because they have $1,000 that's out of their account and there's no way to achieve this goal.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel like that could be in your terms of service or some shit like that. But because you don't want to limit your platform. So like let's say it blows up and you get some dude who's like that movie like 12 Peaks or whatever, I think it's called, on Netflix. It's like this dude who wants to summit all 12 peaks in like a calendar year or something. And so he'd get on the phone with one of our reps and he'd be like, hey, this is my goal. Like, I'm going to put a $50,000 wager on it. And our rep is like, not doable. Sorry, bye. And then you totally get cut from that potential promotion.
That's true.
I feel like it's like
Oh, yeah.
like a little
Okay, that's a good
checkbox,
point.
you know?
Yeah. Checkbox. And I think you'd focus on great customer service, right? Where you have like people who are really good about like listening to these issues and saying like, well, I understand, like, here's your money back, or like, making sure that if they end up ending in some sort of scenario that they would need their money back, then you can do it. But all right, I have two other points on this app idea. Okay. All right. Two other points that we don't have to talk about it. One could be these public apps. Not public apps, public like goals or milestones, but people can gamble on them. They can wager whether or not that person is going to complete it. And then we could make that a crypto. We make that a coin on the platform. They could use this currency. So like, let's say you're completing goals. Each goal you complete gives you like X amount of coins that you have. And then you can gamble these coins on these other people's like, goals, whether or not they hit it. And then when you, what's like the value of amassing all these coins, instead of like putting up money, you can front the money with your coins instead for the next goal or something like that. And so now you're betting on it. So that's one thought. Okay. Second thought is,
I like it.
Second thought is the platform is utilized for like corporate teams. and the team's like, hey, if we hit our numbers at like these things, then like I'm gonna buy like everyone X amount. So that like that manager or like whoever that leader is, they put in the money into the platform, and then they say like, here's everyone part of my team. They all are contributing to like that goal or whatever it is. Like let's say it's like a sales goal or something. Everyone just has to have like their own, and they can see it going in, and then it holds like the leadership accountable. Like the money's there, it's gone, and now it's a part of it. And now it's like a game to like have internal like incentivization. You could even use it at like schools.
Mm,
It's like a pizza party platform or like a donation platform as well. Like, are they reaching their donation goals? And they like put the money in, and then it's there, and they can keep track of it all.
yeah, I think that yeah, you could definitely go into that space. That's like all those like crowdfunding spaces or like
Hmm.
whatever. Yeah, I definitely think you could take over that marketplace too. But the beautiful part about this model, I love your gambling idea. And then I also love the idea of people setting year-long goals and then them giving you their capital for a year. Because then you're basically like a bank, dude. Like you have all this access to cash and you can invest it. I don't know. You'd have so much liquid cash though, which would be sweet. And
Yeah.
this idea of returning, sorry, I'll let you go on it,
No, no,
but I
no.
love this idea. The refund policy, like the customer service thing you were talking about, I think it is just good customer service, because you'll take your cut anyways. It's like if someone's like, okay, I bet $100, like I can lose 10 pounds in 6 months, whatever it is. End of 6 months, they don't do it. And they're like, actually, I got sick, whatever, I was in the hospital. And we're like, okay, we can refund you, but there's like a 30% service fee. So like they only get $70 back. I don't think you can refund the whole thing because you also have to do like credit card processing too. And then that's really probably it. But I still think you have like maybe it's not 30%, but you could take like 15%.
But whatever your operating costs essentially are for that donation, which I guess would bring me to my point of like, what would be your, like, what would be the business model? Like, where are we driving revenue out of this app? Is it like people who sign up, they pay a monthly subscription? Is it a one-time fee once you're on the platform? And then we basically take all the holdings that we have for a year and we invest it and we get interest off those holdings. And that's why we get money returns that way. Do we sell like user behavioral data? And that's like what's getting like, what do you think is like the main revenue driving force of this app?
I think you take a cut of every transaction. I don't think there's a fee. It's free. It's free to be a member. It's free to be a part of the community. I think that's how you get people in. And I love the gambling idea too, because that's just hilarious. I feel like this would go crazy in fantasy football. Like you put a crazy wager on someone not winning fantasy football, and then you have your other like fantasy football teammates validate whether like who won basically, and then like the payout goes to the winner or something like that. I don't know,
Mm.
but I think you do have a transaction fee on top of the credit card processing fee,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's your revenue.
Mm. Okay. Trying to think. I'm like, this
And
is a
user behavioral data. You always sell
well,
that
yeah,
for
always,
sure.
of course, of course. Well, I think it would be really interesting, and then you could like totally publish every year. Like, you could have an annual report of like these are all the goals people on our app completed, like a Spotify recapped, but for like goals and that. Like, I think that data would be so interesting to take a look at and seeing like where are people focused at. Like in the year 2022, everyone was trying to hit fitness goals. Year 2023, everyone was trying to hit financial goals. Like that would be really interesting data to be collecting on a person and seeing what people are up to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. You could definitely farm that data. So that would be part of, I think you just build that into the app to start. It'd be like, okay, what type of goal do you want to set? And then you like pick like exercise, mental health, whatever it is, financial. And then already have kind of like your data built in. So you don't have to do much like processing of your own data to sell it, which
Yeah.
yeah, if you go in knowing that, you can definitely optimize for reselling data there.
Well, and it's just like good to have, right? Like I think having your like if you could set up your products and your things to constantly be giving you like basically processed data, then you can be making like business decisions and you could be a data-driven organization, right? Like you could be like, oh, for some reason everyone gets to like step 3 of our sign up form and they fall off. What the hell's happening? Right? Like why are they falling off there? Then you could take a deeper look at that app, user experience and things like that. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. This is really interesting. I'm I
Yeah,
don't
no, I
know.
like this idea. Dude, I feel like I'm going to go on Google right after this and it already exists. I feel like it's got to be out there.
But can you gamble on it? I think that's your differentiator.
Yeah, I think that is it for sure. Would you really do it with crypto? Would you make your own token?
I think that would be the best way to do it. And the way it would be is it's just like the only way to like I think of it as like Reddit's upvotes and like tokens that they give. People are out there on Reddit and they're like, here's a silver medal, here's a gold medal, and like it's like arbitrary money. And like it's being thrown around left and right. But like if you were to like make that into a token, actual crypto like currency, and then there's like I think it's a little bit better. But I was thinking while we were talking, like I don't know if you ever associate like the only way that like token is associated to a dollar figure is being able to like put that up instead of putting money up when you set your goals. But like there's no way for someone to buy more tokens or anything like that. I don't know. We'd have to dig into this. But I do like I think
it'd have to be like gamified. It'd have to be like a game currency where it's like I have 20 shillings in gold tokens, whatever it is. Like it wouldn't I don't think it could be like a programmatic like cryptocurrency. Like the value would have to be pegged at a dollar or whatever, like a US dollar. So it'd have to be like a fake value.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I agree.
But I don't know, kind of crazy tangent there. I like that though. I'm definitely going to Google that after this.
I like it. I think we can pitch it to some VCs and get some money pretty easily.
Dude, I'm down. Let's do it. We can just not release this podcast, and that'll be ours. Actually, anyone who beats us to it, if you heard this, you'll know where it started. But I was to kind of change subjects here. I was talking to a buddy who works at a really small company, and he was talking about diversity in the workplace. So his team, he started when it was like 4 people, and now I think there's maybe like 12 or 15, and it's all dudes. And he's like, I feel like we're past the tipping point of like if we bring on a girl, we're gonna have to bring on like 4 or 5. I don't know if this is safe for podcast talk, but I feel like it's interesting because at what point do you prioritize diversity in like the workplace?
I don't know if it's like prioritizing, like you should prioritize diversity in the workplace by looking at how you're like hiring people. Like what is your criteria for hiring people? Because there's a good chance it could be, well, it depends on your industry and then also who you're interviewing, because there's probably some sort of bias that's happening that is creating like this consistent. So if you were to do like a normal like distribution graph, like you shouldn't end up in this like company with its only dudes. And like so like I would look at it from that perspective, not necessarily just hire, like we need to go out and hire women, but like how do we hire people, and like what is in that like that is causing us to like hire like only one type of person. Because I also think of like diversity in the sense of like diversity of thought, right? Like if you're hiring predominantly like white males age like 25 to 35, that chance of like diversity or thought to be truly like diverse is probably much lower than you were just hiring like a good selected like group of people that all have the same skills, right? I know like in certain like algorithms and like AI models that are being built at large corporations, they've had to look back and realize, oh, their user experience really stinks because they've actually had all male engineering teams who are building models, who are building these experiences, and end up having these like AI models for like, let's say keyword search. It actually is only useful to like males. But like when a woman goes in and she types it in, because like there is like those distinct differences, it's not as good of an experience because it's not picking up how like a girl might be thinking through something. if it is at all different. But like there's like those inherent biases that can filter into like how things or your products are being made. So I do think there's probably a little bit just like an issue, but like some sort of part of that hiring process. And the value of fixing that is like you have a diverse set of like thinking for solving problems.
Yeah. No, I never thought of it from that perspective, like the hiring process. It's definitely like the outcomes are, or like your team is an outcome of a process, right? So you have to drill down and figure out like how you got to that end state. And yeah, I think your AI example is great there. But yeah, it's interesting. It probably just depends on like their priorities and like what values they're looking for at the moment, which I think will change, right? As a company grows, your needs as a business change. So yeah, I think there is definitely space for diversity there. But it was just funny he brought it up. I was like, dang, dude. Just it's like it was an afterthought to their leader, to his leadership, that they were like, oh yeah, now we have like 15 dudes here that just work. He's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know what's gonna happen when we hire a girl. I was like, oh yeah, I never really thought about that. But
Well, and like I know that if I just totally like projecting, I guess, or like putting myself in a girl's shoe, like if I showed up to like that interview panel and it's just like 8 dudes, I don't know if even if I'm qualified, I'm gonna accept that job. Right? That's like a pretty like just like, oh man, like what's happening here? There's not a single like woman in this whole panel or like anywhere. You might be like, that's a little bit of a red flag at the same time, where you're looking at it and you're like, I don't know if this is like the right company for me.
yeah, it would definitely raise some questions. I would if I was a girl, I'd want to know, okay, have you ever, as a girl, ever worked here before? If so, why did she leave? You know, or why aren't there any girls here now? Yeah, that would be concerning. I think it would take a strong woman to come in and say like, no, you need to do it this way. Like, this is how you need to operate, like with a girl in the workplace. She would have to be like in a position of power, I think, to make kind of some decisions and like, so like, okay, no, we can't use that language in a meeting. Like, we can't say that.
Yeah,
kind of stuff. Yeah. And like stand up for herself, basically. But I don't know, I thought you had some, I knew you'd have some good insights on that.
it's just funny because I could just see it. Like it just like you eventually look around after this like couple months of hiring, and you're like, oh man, it's just a bunch of dudes here.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. That's funny. What else did you want to chat about?
I really had like a couple of one really like it's like totally about just like finance, and it's just like could be really quickly. I found a really interesting stat. So I'll ask you, pose you a question. Do you think, based on like current events and like what you've been seeing in media, that people are investing more or less than they have in the previous years?
Oh,
Think about like accessibility to like invest, apps, all of that.
wait, what's the time? What kind of time frames are we comparing? What'd you say?
From now to like when you can invest, like from the very first stock exchange in the US. Do you think there's more people in the US who are investing?
For sure. Yeah.
You'd be wrong.
What?
You'd be wrong.
No way.
In 2020, 55% of adults in the United States invested in the stock market. This figure has remained steady over the last few years and is still below the levels before the Great Recession, when it peaked in 2007 at 65%. I was totally expecting this like explosion of a number, like 70% of people in the US are investing in stocks that can. And it's pretty much been at that 55, 58% consistently. But it has yet to top that 65% number from 2007, which is like mind-boggling. But then it also kind of shows the, I would feel like one part is confidence that the stock market is going to be there, but then I'm also wondering like how much of that is crypto taken up. right? Because this is just stocks, right? Like if you were to take truly how many people are investing in like mediums that aren't like, let's say, real estate, but like in like, you know, in stocks, like trade, like, you know, things that you could trade like that, what percentage of that is? But I was like, I found it very surprising.
I don't know if crypto's taken 10%. Like that they would have to, crypto would have to take a person from being 100% in the stock market to zero. Right? Like for that person to be not invested in the like stock market.
Right.
Maybe people are just scared, dude, after the housing market crash.
That's true.
Because that was right after, that's when it peaked, 2007.
Yeah.
And then the 2008 crash happened and everyone probably pulled out. Yeah.
Not the best thing to do, but yes, that is what people did. They pulled out.
Yeah, that's what happened.
I guess you're right, but I just assumed, right, there's like all this hubbub of like, oh, you can invest anytime on your app in your phone, like, and then now I'm wondering if like everyone who was like, you know, like the olders, like the millennials, they're like, oh, like they're really iffy on the stock market now, and then also in previous years, like people our age just didn't invest, and then now that there is, even though there's like a more people who are like investing, it's still just not, it's just like not that many people who are invested in the stock market. I just couldn't get over that number. I've been trying to like in my head figure out what, like 55%, that's barely over half. Like you could buy fractions of stocks nowadays.
Maybe people are just like, maybe people just have less money now, like less disposable income.
I wonder if this took into account like 401ks and like retirement funds, and if that is like a factor in that, if not. But
I bet it did. I bet it.
Yeah. But even if you don't have like a large, like, do you think that people with like not a large disposable income aren't investing because they use, okay, certain groups of people obviously use every dollar that they can to like survive, right? Get through the day to day. But I think there's also probably a group of people who aren't educated enough, like not educated on the subject, to know that like you can buy like pennies or like percentages of like VOO, and then that's just going to average out the whole S&P 500, and you can make returns on that.
I think a big part of it is education, right? And then I wonder if part of it is, I don't want to point my finger at social media so directly, but well, it might be hard for you to understand how I got there, but like this idea of like impressing people online, there's always this like, it's always staring you down every day when you open up your phone. And I don't know if people just fall into that trap of like, oh, I need to buy things to look cool so I can post it. And so like that money is no longer going towards, it's like a cultural thing. It's not going into the market. It's going towards goods.
No, like consumerism being like materialistic is definitely being driven by the like, you know, social media, like all the labels you see, like all these things, like Amazon fashion, like you could buy this junk brand for like $5 and get it shipped to you the next day. Like that, I know it eats up my sister's fucking budget, I'll tell you that. But I do have a thought though. Going back to this goal app idea, what if you also had trading and you had portfolio goals in it? And then now you have a leaderboard of your friends' portfolios, and you're like not only like competing, and you could compete by region whose portfolio are better, but then you could also have like an educational aspect to it. So you're like helping people reach their like minimal trade, like their minimal portfolio goals. You have like a designated path. So you're saying, hey, you've never invested before? Like, let's get like $5 out onto the stock market. Your goal is like set $5 and then like check back in a week. And like if you check in every week or you put $5 every month, like that's that tracked goal, and then you can educate people on like investing, and then you're also putting them up against each other, and then you can gamble on that.
Oh yeah, well yeah, I think you can gamble on everything in this app. That is a core facet of this app. But I think it's like communities on Twitter, or not communities, like lists or whatever. So you basically like subscribe to like a group on this app, and it's like stock trading or whatever, personal finance, and then there's a group of people in there that you can basically have, like, if you join, maybe there's every month a new cycle starts. So like, okay, this month everyone who joins puts in $50, and then you compete with like the 50 people that are in your little group or community of that month. Yeah, I think you could definitely create communities on this app based on interests or goals, right?
Yeah, that's like, and those like communities are like what are driving the leaderboards. You have like this community's leaderboard, this community's leaderboard.
Yeah, and your leaderboard, you could sort your leaderboards by like payout, basically. Like, and then you get people to spend more money, dude. There we go, vicious cycle. Did you ever download that app, Stock Twits? I think is what it's called.
No.
It reminds me of your portfolio. I think that's what it's called. But it's basically just like a Twitter only for stocks, though. So people are like given like, they're just throwing out like hot calls for the day or whatever, and you can follow different accounts and stuff. I'll find that app though. I'll send it to you. Put it in the description. Shameless plug right there. Yeah, I like this idea a lot, though.
Yeah,
what else did you have?
That was it. That one kind of fact there. We covered off on everything else that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, you being a finance bro by association due to being a crypto bro. How much time we spend like a month budgeting or like by day or like whatever it is. The 55% of adults. Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I had one more. We're already at an hour. We'll just run through this real quick. Off the top of your head, I don't know. We'll see. Answer this however you want to. But what I've been looking on Micro Acquire lately. I don't know if you've been on there, just looking at like small SaaS businesses to buy. But what percentage of your current savings would you spend on a business? Like, let's say it's a profitable business. You're buying it at 2x annual revenue. They make like 70%. Let's say they're good. They make like 70% profit. So you could hypothetically pay this off in whatever, 3 years.
What percentage of my savings would I put? Let's say if I
how much of your personal wealth would you buy a business?
If I'm going to do that, I'd probably quit my job. If I were to do that, then I would put probably 60 to 70% of my personal wealth into it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
I think you got to be confident in it. You got to go all in. You have to have like your skin in the game. Like, I think anything less than 50%, you're going to have like you can, like, I used to be of the mindset that you need a fallback plan, but the more I looked into it, everyone was like, no, like the second you have a fallback plan, you're gonna go back to ripcords. You're gonna pull the ripcord the second things hit the wall, versus like you have to be forced to like dig deep. And I think you do that by just saying like, I've bet it all, like this is it, and you're gonna have to make it work. But I think like 60 to 70%, because again, we have like the longest time horizon out of any generation to like make back all our mistakes. And it's not about, just like a gambler, it's not about when you lose. It's like, as long as you keep playing the game, you'll always win. So you just have to get up and keep going. And as long as you're doing that, then that's all that matters.
Yeah, I agree. I share that mindset. It's like, I'm going to keep trying until I absolutely can't. But I mean, I would even push it up to like maybe even 80 or 90%, and just go all in. Because at that point, like, let's assume like it's a pretty profitable business and they're doing probably more than 6 figures a year in profit. So, and a lot of these small companies are like 1 or 2 man teams, so you're not distributing your profits among really anyone else. So like once you buy it, your income's almost guaranteed. You'd want to make a good purchase, right? And like validate that their P&Ls are reputable and all that stuff. But yeah, I think you could, I would, I'm less risk adverse though, I think. So I'd go closer to 100.
Yeah, I guess like you'd have the profitability. It'd be like a monthly. You have monthly recurring revenue 'cause it's SaaS based, right? So you have like a consistent revenue stream. So there's like all those benefits. It's like, I think I would not do like 100% just because I think I would still need to have enough money to like take my ass home to my parents' house. What if it all goes wrong? So just need enough cash to be like, okay, I go home and then I can at least not be a total mooch.
Yeah. No, I agree. Definitely not 100 exactly, but no, it's funny. I think that number goes down too as you get older, right?
Yeah.
But right now,
number
dude,
goes.
send it.
Yeah, send it. And then I also think that's like going to your earlier point about why not to buy a home at the moment is like you have at least a big portion. Like if you had a home and you had to pay for that and like you're paying into it all the time, your like actual like reserves to be able to make those investments or those like kind of riskier like moves is just so much smaller. Like you might have to use closer to 100% because you have so much money tied up into this investment that is your home.
Yeah. Or it gets super messy into like, or maybe, dude, I don't know. Maybe it is even better to own a home at that point because then you can take
Second
a
mortgage.
loan out against the equity in your home, and then that's considered debt. So any money you make on top of that is you're paying back debt, so it's not taxed. I don't know. I think there's some.
You have double
loopholes there.
losses there. Like if things go bad, real bad, both stock market and business bad, then you're out of a home and you're out of a business.
Yeah. Well, I think you're getting a loan anyways. I don't think you're buying this business all cash. You can get like an SBA loan.
But I don't think they can foreclose on your house if you can't pay it off your like regular business.
You declare bankruptcy?
Yeah. Because you would be declaring bankruptcy as a LLC, right? Not as like your personal. But if you take a second mortgage out on the house on the thing you own, you'd have to declare like personal bankruptcy. Versus like Chapter 11, right? I think that's like business like bankruptcy versus like your own.
Yeah. I don't know. This is not legal advice. Yeah, whoever's listening here, or financial advice. But no, this was good. All right. Are you done? We good here?
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Thanks for listening. Please like, comment, subscribe, follow on Spotify, and we will see you next week. Peace.
Peace.